Welcome to Trulyfit, the online fitness marketplace connecting pros and clients through unique fitness business software.
Kyle, thank you so much for joining the Trulyfit Podcast. Why don't you give my listeners and the audience a little background on you and what it is that you do?
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate being on the Trulyfit Podcast. It's such an honor to be here. A little bit about me. My name is Kyle Kaplanis. I am one of the founders of a talent management agency called Project Z Talent and also a TikTok expert. So I've been in the TikTok space ever since it launched back in August 2018 and have been researching and developing and figuring out ways on how not only creators, but also businesses can best use the platform and how they can do that. So with our talent management agency, we actually house some of the top creative talents in the world, including Spencer X, Michael Lee, Alex Stemp. These creators, some of them have over 50 million followers a piece. So wow. Through their experience and through me helping develop their businesses led me to be, one of the top, I'd say definitely top TikTok experts in the space, where it's well-rounded on knowing what's really working with, how to work with brands, but also like from a business perspective of what's going to work for them and drive more business sales, things like that. So that's kind of just a quick synopsis about me, but as this interview goes, I'm sure you'll learn a little bit more of who I am and how we kind of work. So yeah.
And I have so many questions to ask you, and we're going to get down to the nitty gritty of the TikTok stuff. But first I have more of like a macro question just about social media in general. Mm-hmm. And I feel like if I'm having this pain point, for lack of a better term, then other people are probably also having this pain point. And my biggest issue, Kyle, and if I'm being selfish and it's only my issue, I don't care. I have you here, so I'm going to use you as
absolutely right.
For I don't know if you're my psychiatrist at this point or if you're figuring out my business problems, but I can't not be all like authentic. Like it's so difficult for me to try to just copy everyone else. And that seems to be, and correct me if I'm wrong, that seems to be the way that people are succeeding. They see something that's working, they just copy it. They do it they do whatever they're doing. Okay, there's a dance going on. I'm going to do that dance, put that song in the background, do whatever I have to do. It's not in my blood. I can't do it. Can I still be successful? Or are you just going to tell me, Steve, stop it, put your ego away and just copy what other people are doing?
Really, really, really good question. And I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions. I think when people are like looking, they see very similar trends, right? It's people doing the same things over and over. And they're like, that's not me. And how do I fit in this space when I just see the same thing? Like, I don't feel like that's a good fit. And I totally get that. And I think in terms of that, like, I do believe people should take their ego and put it aside because it's so fresh and new that they might think this isn't good for them, but really it is. And you said, you have a hard time maybe being authentic in that space, but I think we have to take a look and look at it as more of, okay, who's Steve and what value can you bring? Because that's the ultimate key to success. So you don't have to copy people at all. You really just need to share your voice, your passion, and who you are. Storytelling is one of the top things on TikTok. Like it's actually moving more from trend based, which is still going to be a thing. Absolutely. Always. But the storytellers of the app are really coming forward and sharing their authenticity in their own unique way. And I think there's room for everybody in that aspect. So no matter how you feel, because I do get that a lot, especially from brands and businesses, are like, I don't know how to do those things that TikTokers are doing. Like, you don't have to, just do your thing. Like that's as easy as that, for sure.
I'm glad to hear that. So that's that makes me feel a little bit better as we go down these questions, to know that it's not all for naught. I'm not going to ask you all these things and go, I can't use TikTok anyway because I don't feel like copying everybody. It's exactly. Good to know that we could put our own personalities into this.
100%. Absolutely.
So if I were at a dinner table and my grandmother asked me, what is TikTok? What's a very general, vague, easy layman's definition of what TikTok is as a social media?
Perfect. So luckily, most people, even grandmas, know what social media is. So it's kind of like, if you were to kind of compare it to a Facebook, think of like a place that you get quicker information where you don't even have to go searching for it. So like the app has an algorithm, or like, it's kind of like your friend. As it gets to know you, it's going to show you content that you enjoy on a daily basis and getting quicker information. So instead of going through your Facebook feed and maybe seeing, information from other people that you really necessarily don't care about seeing, it's just your friends and stuff, and they're sharing family photos and you're like, cool. But it's more like the app is actually geared to you That's what's called the For You page, which is totally different than other platforms. So it does not take who you follow in account and what they're doing. It only is geared to you. So it's like if your grandma, it's kind of like whatever your grandma's interested. I would tell my grandma, hey, if you're interested in knitting, guess what? The For You page is going to know you like knitting and show you knitting videos and be fun. So same with like fitness. If you're a fitness user or a friend, or like you love doing fitness or your business, as you interact with the app, it's going to show you only that content, which is really exciting. But also it's just in a place that everybody has a equal playing level field, like a equal playing level field. Yeah. Did I say that right? Equal level playing field. Sorry.
Yeah.
I had it backwards, but okay. So what I mean by that is on other platforms like Instagram or Facebook, right? We have this or even YouTube, you have a tendency to kind of judge others, what they're doing and seeing what's successful there. And a lot of times you feel like you're not worthy enough. You're not going to be good enough because there's, maybe people that are like really attractive or are really doing good in their business and they seem to have a huge team behind them. And you're like, I'm a small guy. I'm a one-man team. How am I supposed to compete? The cool thing about TikTok is everybody has the chance, no matter who you are or where you are or what, maybe you have disabilities, how you look, everybody gets a chance to be seen. And I think that's what's fun. So even grandmas out there, you actually have a chance to build an audience and connect with new people. And I think that's what's really important.
So I guess you sort of answered my next question in that it's so targeted. When I turn on TikTok, all I see is, let's say, humor and half naked people and like fitness, right? So like they're obviously targeting me because I've looked at humor and I'm always looking at fitness stuff, right? So they're showing me that same sort of stuff. So it's difficult for me to get an idea of how one uses this for business. Can you give me just maybe an anecdotal thing, how you use it for business or how somebody that you work with uses it for business?
Sure. And I'll give you also a tip for anybody listening on how you can maybe gear a For You page that's more geared to seeing content like that. So I'll give you a tip on both. So for people using business wise, they're really just being authentic. So I'll give you an example. Like, I had a lady and I run a podcast as well. And we talk about business and TikTok. That's literally what my podcast is about. But I had a lady on there and how she's doing it. She runs a baby product, right? This is totally different than fitness, but it's something you can at least kind of comprehend on what she does. She has a baby product and she doesn't sell her product. She doesn't try to sell it. She just shows what it is and how it can bring value to the community. And that's really the key thing there is like, she's using it more on how to bring value. And so businesses that are doing that on bringing value, where, they're not trying to sell a product, they're just talking about it and how it can benefit the community that they're trying to target is where she's seeing success. So for instance, like before through Facebook activations and Instagram, she was only getting about 8 sales a month, not a lot at all. Like she had to continue to do her job. On TikTok, she just shared, what the product looks like and how to put it on your baby. And then people went crazy and she went from 8 sales a month to, over 800 to 1,000 per month and quit her job, hired employees all within 1 month, which is kind of crazy. But I've seen that a lot in businesses right now. And especially small businesses, the communities of TikTok, when you're communicating with them and it's almost like you're having a conversation with people versus just selling to them. You're just having communication. They're getting to know you as a person. That's where they're seeing success. And I think for, fitness owners or people who are like maybe fitness trainers or own gyms, it's a really good opportunity for them to be able to use business is bringing value, maybe sharing some of the tips that they know, especially if you're a fitness trainer. What are some exercises that are working well for you? Maybe you're a nutritionist, sharing some food tips and, yes, you have a business and you want to bring sales or new customers in, but providing that value, people are going to want to go and search that out and actually book in with you. And that's what we're seeing is that authenticity is now like the game changer for where sales are going versus just kind of, the old method of like cold calling and like really kind of hounding that. So I hope that we can, delve in if you have further questions. But another thing I want to give for people who are looking on their For You page, we tend to follow things that we're really excited about, right? And it might be totally separate from our business. So therefore our For You pages is not really giving us inspiration on how we can use it. So a tip I tell, you can have up to 4 accounts on your TikTok where you can click between each different account. So what I always suggest is you have your personal one for your average everyday scrolling. And then you have a secondary account that is only following and targeting things that are business related to you to get inspiration. So searching up hashtags only in there, and try not to get confused when you're on the two. So you don't miss, like, your For You page doesn't start shifting. I had that mistake. I had to set up a whole new one because I was like, oh, great. But it really does work. So when you do that, therefore you can get inspiration, see what you're like, maybe look up competitors, see what they're doing. Because you mentioned copying. And I do like to mention this too, because some people feel like, well, that person's strategy is working really well. I kind of want to take it, but I always tell people, if me and you, Steve, were in a room and we had the exact same script, like word for word, and we were on the same stage with the same audience, half the audience would resonate with you and half would resonate with me based off of our personalities, even though we said the same thing. So I always like to mention that too. Don't feel like you're copying people. You have your own voice, and the way you say it is going to be, taken differently too. So I always like to throw that out there. I thought that was a good spot to put that in.
Those are fantastic tips. I appreciate it. And I want to go back to something you said about the level playing field. I've seen it happen amongst one of my friends, sort of a secondary friend that I had known in a past life. She's an artist who makes wooden, I guess you would call them like 3D pictures of stadiums. So she carves out pictures of football, baseball, basketball stadiums in sort of this like very 3D way, where there's all the intricacies of the stadium you can see from above. And it's beautiful. It's magnificent. And I could always tell that on Facebook and on Instagram, she probably wasn't doing that well. And maybe even you would say struggling. She got on TikTok, and before you know it, like you said, because people weren't looking at her like, oh, is she already popular? They were just looking at the art itself and going, this is amazing. And they judged her off of the art. She instantly had like 40,000 followers and were selling, hundreds of these things. And it really does speak to exactly what you said. It's about providing value and being authentic and it's almost starting fresh, so to speak.
Yeah.
Right? People aren't judging you off of your formal social platforms.
No, for sure. So like, I think the reason why that is a thing is when you are scrolling on the For You page and you come across a video, it doesn't give you the metrics of that person. So meaning like, it doesn't display, hey, they have 2 million followers. So therefore you're like more interested, like I'm going to listen to what they say. It does not show that. So therefore you're really engaging with that piece of content and then deciding as a person, is this going to bring value to me? Do I want to continue to learn more about this piece or dive in? And then you can go to their page and see. But typically at that point, you're excited about the content or the value they brought. Who cares about the followers? You're choosing to follow them because they brought value into your life for that moment. And I think that's the difference. Like, on Instagram, I guess you can scroll through and see people like that. But because it's so video based and it's so curated to things that you like, you're going to find a lot more interest. And then because the app is so curated, like I keep saying, your audience, therefore it's like a sales funnel, right? Like the TikTok algorithm is actually like a built-in sales funnel for you to find the right targeted people, which is even cooler. So if you do put out a fitness piece of content and giving value based off the best workouts, people who are looking for that, the app is going to show them that piece. So therefore that's why people are having such big successes, is because like I said, on Instagram, Facebook, it doesn't really curate your content to the right people. It's going to give you a mix, and maybe 90% of them are not even interested in fitness, but they just like you as a person, or they maybe follow you or whatnot, or you're a friend of a friend who, and it's just a waste of time. So like, that's why I love TikTok, is it's not geared based off of who you follow or what, like it's based off of what you enjoy. So if you like fitness, the people who are making fitness content will be displayed on those For You pages. So that's I think people are having so much success there. And that's why it's an equal level playing field.
So I think also another part of this, and you could speak to this, I'm just sort of spitballing here, is, on Instagram, you may see a post by someone, which is a picture of some words. And then what's the next step? You click on their profile. And then from that, then you start to, potentially judge them based on whatever else you have going on. Right. Whereas with TikTok, the video pops up, you see the video, you already get a glimpse into the person right away. Right. So know nothing else about them, either about their product or, about them personally, if you see them or whatever it is, even if it's them, like, sort of like mouthing over some lyrics or something, you get a vibe at least,
exactly,
right? About who that person is. And then you're working already from that, as opposed to clicking in and then judging them based upon like whatever they have on their Instagram.
Totally. No, exactly. So like that's like I said, that's just that piece of connection. It's that connection, that first connection piece to where then you go on their page and you almost have like a clear-minded, like your judgment levels are a lot more open-minded to seeing their other content or learning more about them, regardless of like the vanity metrics. Maybe they only had 200 followers, who cares? But that piece really spoke to you, so you're going to give them a follow and want to learn more. That's the difference. Like, and exactly, it's so true. Like you said, you're not going on there and just like, who are they? Or and that sometimes on Instagram you go and you judge based off of what you see on the feed, but you're not even diving in to read any of the posts or watching a video, just because you have that instantaneously and you click off and you're gone. So this way it gives it to you straight right there on the app, and people can have that clear indication of what you're doing and want to learn more. So that's why there's just so much success in that space.
Can you explain the difference between Instagram Reels and TikTok? And sort of a secondary question to this: if you're really hyper successful, let's say in Instagram Reels, can you simply just post that reel to TikTok, or is there a lot more going on in TikTok where you're going to have to update that reel?
Good question. So yes, TikTok really, really dominated this space and really was disruptive in this space. So we see that because Instagram quickly developed the Reels. Yeah. YouTube quickly added on YouTube Shorts. And so we're seeing that a lot of these apps are now developing this short form vertical style video, because why? It works. The difference is, I think, between Reels and YouTube Shorts versus TikTok is the algorithm piece is a huge differentiator. So if you go on Reels and you scroll through, you're not going to be as like almost like addicted, or it's not going to be as sticky, because it still gives you kind of random content, which you're just like, I know I'm on Reels. I can almost like have them both open and I'll be like, oh, I'm on Reels, because it's like nothing's really standing out to me. And I'll go on TikTok and I'm like, oh, great. And I have to like set an alarm because you can easily get consumed into it. And same with YouTube Shorts right now. They just don't have that piece to kind of navigate what's working. So that's kind of the difference. But as far as repurposing content, absolutely, they're all the same style of short form. So if you create a piece on Reels or TikTok or YouTube Shorts, either one, my suggestion is always create camera roll. So like basically off the app, even though all of the apps want you to create within the app, I would create off the app and then input them on each platform. And then you can add kind of their features on top. So TikTok, I don't add text on screen, like through an editing program. I always use the TikTok text on screen. And why do I do that? Because it looks more native to the platform. That's really important. You want to stick to like the nativity of each platform. But also within their text feature, it kind of has some back-end keywords that help pull and push to the right audience as well. That's something that a lot of people don't know. So if you mention fitness in your title on the screen with the text, it will actually do some kind of back-end kind of keyword metrics to help putting into the right audience. And then so on Reels, I do the same thing. So that's where it can be a little bit tricky, is like you take the video and then you have to keep on each platform. You have to add the own text and all that. It takes a little bit more time, but I find that it looks more native to the platform. That's such a key indicator to say is creating content based off of that. But it's so true. There's a couple features. So another tip to remind people is, if you do make a TikTok content, when it saves the video, it has the watermark. If you were to repurpose that onto Reels or YouTube Shorts, they will purposely not push that piece of content because they're a competitor, right? And you're basically promoting their competitor. So there's apps that you can Google remove TikTok watermark, and then you basically upload the video and then it resaves it with no watermark. So always make sure that every platform doesn't have a watermark if you're going to repurpose. That's just a tip for that. But people repurpose all day long. I do it. I only make one video and just put them on all three.
That's great information. I have another question that came to mind when you were speaking. Is it better, and this could be not just from like an algorithmic standpoint, this could be from like Kyle's just enjoys this more. So however you want to answer this, but is it better to have one particular type of video and just keep doing it over and over and over? Like, let's go ahead and say, hypothetically, I start a TikTok for Trulyfit, and all of the videos are me clipping in. They're all about 14 seconds long, and they're all just me and my podcast guest talking, and then whatever, something pops across the screen that says Trulyfit. Or is it better to have a bunch of random videos that are always different to keep your audience engaged?
Really, really good question there for sure. So what I call those videos that work are blueprints. So when you develop in the beginning, you don't know what your blueprint's going to be, right? You have to create a bunch of different styles of content to see what works. And then typically you'll see this with creators when they kind of get that rhythm or like, wow, that style worked. And then they try it again and it works again. I would definitely recommend that sticking with the blueprint, but it's kind of the 80-20 rule. Gary Vee mentions this all the time. 80-20, 80% stick to the content you know is working. Always keep room for opportunities and trying different things for 20% of the time. So with TikTok, which is so great, is that your videos are constantly being seen by different audiences versus the other platforms are just like in your feed. If you follow, you just keep seeing, like if you post 10 times, that's why Instagram is like, don't post more than once a day because, or like 2 times a day, because you don't want to like saturate people's feed with your stuff and be annoying and get followers. On TikTok, it does not work like that. You can make 300 videos in one day and you're not going to annoy your audience because those videos will be pushed to different audiences at different times over periods. So, and I might be going on a tangent right here, but it's like good information to know. So the TikTok For You page is actually based off of a 90-day window. So there's going to be videos within a 90-day period that come up. So meaning like you might be scrolling and 3 of those videos could be from 2 months ago. One of them could be from the same day. So the reason why they do that is so they don't overwhelm your audience with the same content like from you. They might be like, Steve, dang, why'd you post 10 times today? This is annoying. Like you ruined my like feed. So they do that so that way you don't overwhelm your audience. So therefore there's so much room to test because you're not going to be annoying. So that's what I also love about it is you could keep doing your blueprint stuff, but in between you could do a ton of tests without being annoying or overwhelming anybody. So there's so much room to like just do kind of crazy stuff if you want.
Yeah. And like anything else, sometimes your secondary stuff has a completely different audience, right? So you might be, you might be somebody who is all about fitness and just showing the particular movements you do. And then you do a secondary thing on maybe some like heart to heart, like conversations you had with clients that were really tough. And that brings a totally different audience in. So it's always good in any platform, I would imagine, to not just pigeonhole yourself to one particular thing.
No, for sure. And like, that's a great point is let's say, cause I always tell people share a little bit more about who you are versus just your business. Because for instance, let's say you're a huge, like, I don't know, you have a cat, right? And you're just like, your cat's really like, it's just something special to you. So a lot of people do this. You'll see they'll do like business stuff, but in between they'll just share something special within their life. And they're like, hey, this is my cat, Bob. And he's so cute. And we like, this is how I met Bob. Well, some cat lovers might come and enjoy that piece and want to learn. And maybe they're looking to learn more about fitness, right? They do perfect timing. They're like, oh, you also do fitness content? Like I'm looking now, there may be a customer or they want to learn more about you, but they shared that connection. That's something that brought them in. That's totally irrelevant to your business, but it gets people to a friend that they had a conversation with because they feel like they trust that little piece of connection with the cat. And that's why we're seeing that too. That's why I always let people know, share a little piece about you that's outside of your business because it attracts new people who then share or they want to learn now, like they never even knew they wanted to be in fitness or maybe it's a local community. Because that's another good point. A lot of people do ask is this algorithm targeted to my local area? Yes, it does. It pushes to your local spaces first before going global. So therefore you might get a lot of followers actually in your town that they didn't know your gym existed. And maybe now they're going to go sign up or come in for a visit and maybe want to see who's that person that I just learned about their cat and I love them. So yeah.
If I'm a fitness and health brand, what are some musts to be successful? And I'll give you a few potential things that you could either say yay or nay or shut down completely. Do I need to put my face on each video? Because I find that seems to be the case, but like the bigger businesses would never do that, right? So it's like, Walmart's not showing a face of Walmart. They're just showing random stuff because they don't have a face necessarily, as opposed to an individual business owner. And do I need to do impromptu videos that have like these like small cut ups? Because I always see people basically like every 4 seconds, there's a cut in a different direction. What are your thoughts on those things?
Okay, those are good questions. So my thing is this, face is so important. So a lot of people do get overwhelmed. But if you look and you see the way traditional media was, like you said, with Walmarts or these big brands and they have no face, those brands are going to need a face at some point. That's why they do a lot of influencer marketing. So they have a face associated to show the product, because just straight old school methods are not working anymore. So they call it the fourth wall, breaking the fourth wall. And that's making eye contact with your customer and talking to them. So there's people who have a lot of success still not doing that, but it's a little bit more tricky because you have to bring additional value. So you could, in the fitness space, you could just show different things like, about what maybe like your gym looks like, or maybe showing like a client's perspective, interviewing them, asking them to be like the face of the thing. I had a lady on my podcast, and she makes a product that is for like convenience stores. So you can put like nachos in it and then attach it to the top of the cup. So then you can walk out holding it and have all your stuff in there. But she was just showing the product and how it worked, and the views were doing great. Like literally she would have like 10 million views, 20 million views on some of these videos, but her follower count was only about 8,000 after like 100 videos of having viral success, because people just thought the product was super cool, but therefore they didn't really want to follow because there was nothing to like grasp that connection to, if that makes sense. So like, I'll just wait for the next one to come up on my For You page. Then I told her, you have to like start showing who you are. When she did that, immediately the success went higher. She started getting more followers. People started asking questions because they had a face to talk to. And so I think that's really important. And there's going to be a lot of people listening to this like, damn, I was hoping that there was a better solution so I didn't have to be face to face. But it's one of those things that TikTok is also like so not judgmental. Everybody has a space there, regardless of, like I said, disabilities, the way you look. You could be like a really, like, let's say a bigger person getting into the fitness journey. People are so hyped up. They love just seeing people like succeed and are there for them. So yes, it's going to take a little bit of encouragement and confidence building, but it takes time. And once you kind of do it, you realize, okay, it's not so scary. So you just have to kind of find the confidence and do it. But face is so important. Absolutely.
And I would imagine too, as you were describing that lady that you were working with, what came to mind is, on a sort of a secondary thing outside of just showing yourself, is there was no call to action, right? So there needs to be something to say like, hey, yes, subscribe or like, or let me know what you think in the comments below, right? If you're just showing a video and leaving, of course, no one's going to do anything.
Yeah, no, it's so true. Call to actions are really huge. There's a lot of videos that don't really have like a call to action, but there's immense value that wants people to learn more, right? So if you have a really good value, you don't really necessarily have to say, hey, like this video for more or whatever, because some people don't do that and yet they do well. But I think definitely using the caption space to ask a question and the comments, because TikTok is very engaging. Like people love to be engaged, and the comment section is actually a place so many people click to see what's going on, because there's additional value there, or like funny stuff happening in there. Maybe people are participating in ways. So TikTok actually even recommends this. As soon as you make a video, make a couple comments in there asking like a question, or like asking your audience like, hey, what else would you like to learn? Or what was valuable from this video? And then people might, because they see a question, they feel like they want to take part, or there's something to do for them. Like there's something for them to do. And people like that. Like, oh, you're giving me a challenge. Let me, make something. And from there, and this might go over people's head if they haven't used TikTok, but there's a feature within the app that's called a reply to comment. So people use this a lot. So maybe somebody asks a question, like let's say you ask the question and then they're like, I actually have a question. What's the best way to target triceps, right? Like let's say you're a fitness person and you're doing fitness contests, and you're like, great, that now they just give you a content idea, but you can reply to that comment in a video. So that comment is displayed in the video. So when people see it, they see, oh, you're responding to your audience. Therefore, you're listening to us. And that's a great question. I actually wanted to know how to target my triceps as well. So there's so many features in there that give you tools to really be successful, but your audience, and most people I talk to that are growing, their content ideas actually stem from their audience because they're so engaging in asking questions. And then they use that feature. More people want to be involved. More people want to be replied to. And it goes from there. And then all of a sudden they're like, holy, I didn't even realize that there was like so much content I could create. It just goes crazy.
Well, I'm very happy to hear all of this because, in our industry, the whole purpose is to help people. Like that's what we do. We sign up to help people. So knowing that we can simply just provide value by helping people and do it in our own way is really a lot of weight off of my shoulder, and I hope other people's shoulders, because really my pain point was do I have to do it like everyone else is doing it? Does there have to be some sort of like cut up music in the background, or me just sort of, mouthing over a famous movie line or something, and then putting some sort of meme up? Can I actually just give answers and answer people's questions? And it sounds like you can.
You can, absolutely. A lot of people like the trend. So what you're describing is like almost mouthing over some of the memes or like some of the words. Those are really like trend based, which is and I tell people you try them out, but trends, so you can try them, right? And there's a couple of tools that you can even Google, like Trend Talk is one, and it gives you like what are the top trends right now. So that way you're not looking for them, you can find them and see, okay, how can I do this? And you can see how can you fit it within your business. So you'll see people, it's the same song and the same lyrics that they're like mouthing over, but on screen they're like putting in something that's relatable to them, right?
Yeah.
So do you have to do that? No, absolutely. So a good example, that same lady actually that with the baby product, she tried trends and those views were just nothing. And then she realized, okay, my audience isn't here to see me do trends. They don't care. Yeah. So therefore she like moved away and only sticks to like talking, and they just want to hear her talking. And then her success went up. So again, within that 20%, or even in the beginning, try different things. And you might have fun with them. A lot of people actually continue to do them because they're just like, they could be fun, or it shares a little bit of insight to them, and try them. And then a music aspect as well. People do like sounds. They like songs. So a good tool of trade is if you are talking, you can still have music in the background and you can adjust. There's an option to add the audio, and then you can adjust the sounds. So therefore you can make it like 3%. So it's nice and quiet in the background, but they can still hear you, but they can still kind of enjoy the song. People use that quite a bit actually. And sometimes they even have the volume all the way down if it's a trending song, because people who are using that song, and if it's trending, they does kind of get pushed. So that's another kind of trick that people tend to use, is they attach it and then turn the volume all the way down. And then therefore it's still categorized within that sound that might get featured. But there's a lot of tips and tricks you can kind of try. But in the beginning, it's all about trial and error, really, because there's no set answer. I've talked to hundreds of people, and everybody they have similarities, but then they have so many ways that just work so different for everybody.
So there's no set answer, but if Kyle is making a TikTok video right after this is ending, give me like 5 things that you're always looking at, like sort of a very easy checklist. Maybe there isn't 5, maybe there's 3, but a checklist that you yourself are saying, okay, I have to have this going on with the sound, or I have to have this visual. Okay. What are the things you're looking at?
Sure. I actually have it's just 9. So it's 9 tips on how to make your content stand out on TikTok. Right. They're very simple, but I want to share those with you here. I'm just pulling it up here so I can take a look. But okay. So for one, leveraging the sound is really important. So like I mentioned, is, you could use the sound in the background or just turn the volume down. That helps kind of kickstart it. And the app that I recommend, Trend Talk as well, it also finds the top trending sound. So you can look and see, oh, that sounds trending, I'm going to use that, and then just turn the volume down kind of to help leverage that. Does it work all the time? No, but it's kind of a little boost that maybe helps trickle it in. So sound is really important. Or if you're speaking as well, like speaking is great. Get your key message out early. This is really, really important. The statistics show you have 2 seconds to grasp your audience, or they're going to scroll. Oh, wow. And in fact, I think that number is even going lower. I think the last time I looked it up, it might be even 1.6 seconds, which is like insane. Our attention rate is just shortening and shortening and shortening, that you have a second. So like the reason, call to action in the beginning, how to target your triceps. Bow. Like somebody's like, oh, heck yeah. Like, or, what's the best equipment at the gym? Like quickly. So that way they're like, yes, I want to learn that. And then now they're going to continue listening to the thing. If you kind of just go in and are like, hey,
hi, my name is Steve. Let me tell you about my triceps. Yeah.
Done. Gone. Like, yeah. Lost. You lost them right away. They don't care who you are, Steve, yet. Right. Like what's the value you can bring? And then now they're going to care about Steve. So that's what's so important is, and I interviewed on my podcast, his name is Law by Mike. He's a lawyer. He's the #1 most followed lawyer. People have seen him all the time. He's got over 5 million followers on TikTok. But his recommendation for me when I asked him what made him successful, he said, cut the fat. Get all the crap out there that's just not useful. Just cut it out. Like, don't ramble on, like nobody cares unless you're talking about a story or who you are. But just like if it's going, like you're talking about tricep skills, get to the point. Don't put any BS in there because people, you lose them. Um, all right. Another thing is, right, like, okay, this is right on the latest trend. So you can, but implementing on how they work for your business. So changing the dialogue of it and how it can fit within you. So it's a good starting method. You don't always have to stick to the trends, but it's a good way to kind of get an audience started because your video is going to be kind of pushed or seen more because you're taking part of TikTok and their thing. But if you don't want to start that way, don't worry. Like, it's not something you need. Um, Keep your story real and entertaining. That's like really important as well. Just keeping real with your audience, keeping authentic. And like you said, the jump cuts and stuff, not necessary unless you're really good at that stuff. It does help kind of keep people's attention, but it's not necessary. There's so many videos I watch. The person just sitting in one spot. They could be just like here, like there's nothing even exciting, but they're telling something really engaging and you want to listen. Shoot natively for TikTok. This is so important. So a lot of people will, especially businesses, right? And I was working with a lady who runs a podcast and she was using TikTok. She was basically just repurposing her like LinkedIn kind of content and then changing it to like vertical video style. And I'm like, that doesn't look native to the app. It doesn't look like you made this video for the app. And so it's really important to kind of curate your content. So I was like, hey, look, just the content you made is great on the LinkedIn, but just refilm it kind of that's more like personal, more to the camera on your phone, and then it'll fit great. Because the content was actually great. She was doing it, just you could tell it was repurposed from either Facebook or LinkedIn, and that doesn't work. So stick native to the TikTok app. And then I mentioned this before, breaking the fourth wall. Always try to make contact with the camera, because as soon as somebody they feel like you're talking to them, and they almost feel like, so when they make eye contact with you through the phone, even though you're not face to face, they feel that connection, and that is really, really important. So try to really make contact with the camera. And then, another thing, the last thing I can mention is, we mentioned this before, but call to action. So just adding something even in the captions or in the comment section, or you can in the beginning say, hey, if you like this video, follow for more, or share with me your creative, like what's your favorite workout, and leave it in the comments. So something like that are really good key tips to do within your content, but especially in the beginning.
That is an awesome 9. And if you
it
have
was less than 9 because I skipped a couple, but yeah.
if you have a particular video in which you talk about those 9, or a post or a blog or whatever, send it to me so I can put it in the comments at the end so that people can find that directly. But we're not done yet.
For sure.
I still have more questions for you.
Perfect.
So I came upon this, I know nothing about it, but apparently TikTok also has ads. Can you explain the difference between TikTok ads, and if they're good, do you use them? Why do you recommend them? How do they work?
Yeah, for sure. There's different types of ads within TikTok as well. So there's like, and this might go into further thing, but if a business wants to use them, there's like an ad spend platform that you have to apply for to do that. But within there's a couple different ones. There's like hashtag challenges you can do. There's different types of ads. And when you're scrolling, they try to make it as authentic as possible. But there's basically like an extra call to action button that's like a clickable link that takes you to wherever. So those ads are like that. But what I want to mention too is this, because a lot of people might say, okay, I'm gonna make some content or whatever, but TikTok, their logo, their slogan for their ads program is don't make ads, make TikToks. So therefore, still try not to be ad based, still bring value to your ad. And we're seeing that a lot, like through influencer marketing. So for instance, like I work with creators all day who brands want to work with them. So like Walmart, for instance, actually partnered with one of my creators who's a photography guy, and he went around and took photos of the customers and stuff. So Walmart needs the face. So if you don't feel comfortable working with creators, and they don't have to be big either, they could be smaller ones, that you could even hire people who are really good at TikTok to bring them in. But the ads, so there's a thing called Spark ads, which is super cool. There's actually a feature within your settings on TikTok, and it says you can toggle it on or off. It's always toggled on. A lot of people don't even know it exists, but in there it mentions your content can be used at any time for paid promotions. So Spark ads are, if you, Steve, created a video talking about your favorite protein powder and it was really good and it got success, that protein powder company can actually boost ad spend behind that video without your permission because you have that toggled on. But then it gets pushed to the For You page organically, though. Like, it gets boosted even more, so that way more people see it and they can target it for different areas. And those are called Spark ads. And those work really effectively because it was already a very authentic video that was resonating with an organic audience. And that's why that ad's going to work well. Typically, like, they usually contact you or whatnot, but there is a feature in there, and a lot of people don't know that either. I let people know, if you don't want your stuff to be, you just toggle it off and they can't. But technically, when you make content on an app, the app technically kind of has rights to use stuff. But it's those apps are those ads are really effective because they are looking to see how that works. And a good example of that is one of our creators we work with. She did a video about EOS, which is they do chapstick. They make products for like your bathroom, like soaps and stuff. And they made a shaving cream. And she talked about it in a very kind of using like bad language. Like, she was throwing out the F-bomb and all stuff, but it was like a fun, like, it was hyping up the product, saying like, yo, like, and it was talking about shaving down there, right? Which is kind of crazy too. But she was like, yo, you want to have it smooth or whatever. And she was talking about the product. Well, the thing is, it got millions of views, like 10 million views or more. And people were just really resonating with it. So the brand actually was like, okay, I think our audience likes this. And they they ran some ad spend on it, but they went a little bit further too. And they actually partnered with her and created a product line based off of her terminology. And the product was a shaving cream, and it said, bless your effing cooch. And it said it on the product, but they had it like bleeped out. And you would think, whoa, that is like, that is bold. Well, they sold it only online, and it sold out 15 seconds. And it was such a success that they actually had to shut the product down temporarily because they could not keep up with the factory warehouse couldn't keep up with the demand. But that just showed like authenticity and being bold, just sharing your knowledge. And don't be like, it's another tip too. Like, if you do sometimes use, some bad language or whatnot, like Gary Vee's a great example of that too. But you can be authentically you, and you'll find the right audience. And even brands are starting to realize, okay, we have to be a little bit bold, and that's what audiences are liking and seeing. But she was a really cool example of how they kind of ran a Spark ad behind it, but then they ended up turning it into a larger campaign and working with her further. So there's ways to do that too. So if you're a fitness person or you do own a brand that's a product, you can actually search for that. See if people are making authentic content. Ask them if you can use that video and run an ad spend behind it. Kind of cool.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like it is deleterious to your personal business if somebody uses you as a Spark ad. If anything, it's going to help your business, right? So if I'm a nobody and I have 150 followers and not a lot of views, and I decide to do a video with, like you said, a protein powder, and it goes viral, yeah, of course, if this company decides to make money off of me by using that as a Spark ad, who cares? I'm also getting more views and more followers, and I am benefiting somewhat. And this is part of the deal when you sign up for these apps. This is another whole conversation, but some people are like, I can't sign my life away. They're taking this from me and this data and that. It's like, well, there are no solutions in life. There's only trade-offs. If you want to use the app, this is what you have to do. Otherwise, don't use it.
Exactly. That's really the ultimate truth is, you could read all the limitations there, but every single app, no matter where they're located or who they're based or who they're run by, they all have some sort of ownership based off of like what you're doing, and they can kind of do some things, but they do give you the option to toggle that off. But it is cool. There is a lot of even my biggest creators, they ask brands if, hey, we're going to do this. Is there any ad spend behind it? Because if so, that gives them more of incentive because you want your video to do well. And you do want to be put into a bigger audience to get more people listening to your stuff. So yeah, typically most people are like, heck yeah, this is dope. Like you're basically going to pay and I'm going to get benefits of getting new audiences seen. Sweet. That's a good trade-off for sure. So like, yeah, absolutely.
If I'm a fitness professional and I'm very busy, I maybe work 40 hours a week, one-on-one personal training clients. I'm trying to build a gym on the side. And, this is typically fitness entrepreneurs, I'll call them, always are doing 3 or 4 different things. and they might not have time to spend on the online sort of social games. It's especially like creating TikToks. Do I go on something like a Fiverr or Upwork, or is there another site to hire people? Is this what you do? And if not, what exactly do you do to help people? What is a day in the life like of Kyle working with creators?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. One thing I do have to mention is if you seem busy, what's really cool, because a lot, like, we're so mentally focused on the past of like Instagram and YouTube, you feel like you have to have a lot of studio time, you have to have a team, you have to have editing. You're like, I don't have time. TikTok does make it simple. You really do have time. You could be in the car on your way home and you have a message to share. You could be in the gym working with a client. You're like, hey, look, I can make the 15-second video easy. So I want to let people know too, like, don't think like it can be fit in with your stuff. But if you really just don't feel like it, or you feel like I'm not a good fit for my brand at all, like I'm not going to be a good fit, and you want to work with people, Fiverr, Upwork, I wouldn't like necessarily work with them at all. I feel like they really have to understand the app. So I would almost do like your own outreach and see who knows TikTok. There might be even a local person, or maybe somebody even at your gym, or one of your customers that would love to be the face of your brand. Or if you really just want to use an influencer to get reach, you could just kind of search around and see who looks like they would be a good fit for your brand and work with them and reach out to them and just say, hey, I want to partner with you as like maybe a brand ambassador. And then you could work out the logistics of like what that pricing looks like. But like I needed an intern for our business. And how I ran it is I actually did use LinkedIn, but they had to submit a video to me on a TikTok video. That's how they had to like kind of apply.
Yeah, it was like a practical, basically, right?
Mm-hmm. They had to make a TikTok
in the fitness
video.
Industry, before we work, we make people, like, I would make a trainer train me and show me what they would do, and I would make up a scenario for them.
Exactly. So they had to create a TikTok video for me, selling themselves basically to me, but showing, that they know how to use the app, how to use the features. So like, that's a kind of a fun way that you could create an ad and just say, hey, look, I'm looking for somebody to help us run our TikTok, show me some of your skills, show me some of your TikToks on and like maybe within the fitness aspect. And you'd probably be surprised, or probably a ton of people in your local area that would love a gig like that and would do a great job for your brand. So that's something that you could do as well. But nothing against Upwork or Fiverr. I think there's great stuff, but I think for this particular thing, I think it's more important to make sure that they understand the app and they're going to do a good job for you, because technically whoever you're using is a reflection of who you are in your brand, right? So it has to be a good fit.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great information. I think that, partnering is good for, a multitude of other reasons, right? There's always that interconnection through the networking that you're going to get from that person anyway, right? So it's much better than just hiring somebody for one time to make these potential lifelong relationships through the partnerships.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
So this has been a wealth of information. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it, especially because in almost all of my conversations, Kyle, on this podcast, I already know most of the answers, or I have a background, whatever it is. I've had on award-winning doctors and PhDs and famous personal trainers, but I already have a background in all of the answers they're going to say. Here, I knew nothing about what the content was. So it was really great to just sort of like think off the cuff and respond. So I appreciate it. Let my audience know where they can find more about you and anything that you do.
Yeah, for sure. So more about me personally, I share kind of videos and tips and things across all my socials. You can find me actually just by my name, Kyle Kaplanis, on LinkedIn, on Instagram. YouTube so I run a podcast called BizTok for TikTok, and it's play on word, BizTok for TikTok. And we do exclusive interviews with creators, brands, agencies, and we talk about how to market and leverage it for your business in fun, unique ways. So there's a lot of insights there for people who are like, hey, I want to learn more about this TikTok thing. Definitely dive in there. But I have a YouTube channel as well. My videos are always recorded, so they're on YouTube. So people who are needing more of a video thing, you can find that on BizTok for TikTok on YouTube. And our agency, for anybody listening who might be looking for creatives or creators to work or partner with them, definitely you can look us up. We're called Project Z Talent, and it's PRJTZ. You can look us up. We house some of the biggest creators in the world and some smaller ones as well, who might fit within your budgets or anything like that. But if you're looking, or just even wanting to learn questions on how to partner with creators, I'm definitely a good person, and you can DM me on Instagram is a great fast way, or LinkedIn.
Awesome, pal. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope to have you on a future episode down the road to go round 2 of TikTok here.
Absolutely. Thanks, Steve. I appreciate you having me on, and it's been great being on the Trulyfit Podcast.